White rappers. What comes to your mind when you think about white rappers? I'll tell you exactly what comes to my mind. It is a one-word statement. Eminem, right? Even though there were white rappers, that preceded Eminem. There was Vanilla Ice. There was Young Black Teenagers, Third Base, House of Pain, the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys were pioneers, not of white rap. They were just pioneers of the rap game, period, in that early Def Jam era. But still, when you think about white rappers, you think about Eminem. And I'll tell you why, because he wasn't just a good white rapper. He's just a good rapper, period. The dude is talented. I purchased 2 of his albums. I don't even really buy albums like that. I don't spend my money on that shit. But I purchased 2 albums. I had the first one. I also had the Eminem Show, which is like a classic, man. Now, the problem with Eminem's success is that just like anything else that makes money, right? The industry that it comes from looks at that and they say, well, shit, we can do the same thing again. We can pre-package whatever this is, this success, and make it happen time and time again, right? So they looked at Eminem and they said white rappers are an automatic key to success. They're going diamond. They're going to make all this money. And so they tried like several other times after that to package up a white rapper and feed it to us. And the shit didn't work. And I'm going to tell you why it didn't work, right? Now, I don't know if things have changed today, but I know years ago, statistically, most rap albums were purchased by young white teenagers. White people were the ones that were buying hip-hop albums more than anybody else. They wanted to live vicariously, through these gangster rappers, these black gangster rappers. You know what I mean? Even though some of them really wasn't gangsters, but they came across convincingly enough, right? And they still were from somewhere that, these white people were not from. But these white rappers, to them, just looked like the kid next door. But you're trying to be gangster. They didn't know any white gangsters. They didn't really see that where they were from. They couldn't feel that. They couldn't feel the genuineness coming from them, so the shit didn't work. And the shit died off for a while. You had a couple white rappers in between that had some sense of success. Paul Wall. Paul Wall did pretty decent. But again, he was genuine. Like when you see Paul Wall, he's the same dude you see in the video. He talks like that. You know what I mean? He walks like that. He sells fronts to people. You know what I mean? Gold fronts. Like he's making custom designs. He was really a part of the culture. And the shit came across in his image and his music, and that's why he sold. Years ago, KRS-One dropped a line that I never forget. He said, "Sell your image, never sell your records. Image is respected. Records come and go and get collected." If you want to sell as an artist, you have to sell who you are as a person, and that's where the money comes from, not necessarily all the time from what you're saying on records, which we've seen, time and time again. That's why people love Pac. They love who Pac is. He wasn't the most talented lyricist, but people were feeling him as a person, and that's why he's still living on to this day. But back on track years later, you had and shit, an onslaught of white rappers that were coming out. You had like the White Girl Mob, Krayshawn, Lil Debbie, V Nasty, and you had like some other white male rappers that were kind of around them, Riff Raff. This shit really wasn't selling like that. I think they might have been selling locally, like where they're from, but they didn't blow up because people couldn't feel that shit because it wasn't genuine, right? You see Lil Debbie and then you listen to her interviews, it's like two different people. It's like night and day. Reminds me back in the day, man, I had met this white chick who was supposed to be a hood. I'm talking to her on the phone, and she's going in like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I had to do blase blah boom. The door opens on her side of the phone, and I guess it was her parents, or they came in. She did a straight 180, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, Mom, I forgot to do the dishes, but I will get on that expeditiously." Turn into a whole different person. Then her mom leaves the room. She tries to come back like, "Yeah, yo, what the fuck was I saying, B? Like, yo, get the fuck out of here. Ain't nobody trying to hear that fake ass shit." You know what I mean? Hell, then you had people like Iggy Azalea who came out right now. Her rise was kind of similar to Eminem's in the sense that there was something behind that. Eminem had Dr. Dre behind him, right? Now Iggy Azalea did pretty decent when she first came out. She had T.I. backing her. She looked pretty decent with makeup on. She was attractive with makeup on. And then they Nicki Minaj'd her ass. So they gave you that whole package, you know what I mean? They appealed to that demographic, that hip-hop demographic that was buying the records. But then, when she got exposed, as a fraud, she was from Australia, but trying to sound like she was from Atlanta. Like, I swear that the brat was ghostwriting her shit, man. She sounded like she was from, like, East Point, College Park, or some shit like that. But then when you hear her talk, she sounded like fucking Mel Gibson 20 years ago, right? And people just weren't feeling that shit because they're not feeling the genuine nature coming from these people. Like, we would respect it more if you would just be yourself and you would sell mad records. You can be a white rapper and not be a white hood rapper or a white gangster rapper. Like, nobody wants to see that shit. It's like WWF. You're a character. You know what I mean? And that was my problem with, Lil Debbie and her crew. I felt like they were caricatures of what they thought black people spoke like and that we acted like. And, newsflash, motherfucker, all black people ain't from the hood. All black women ain't twerking and shit like that. That shit is not true. You know what I mean? So that shit just made me angry off the top. You know what I mean? Be you, and do not try to emulate us, but in a way that I feel like is disrespectful. You know what I mean? Now, you got some white rappers that are, doing pretty good, pretty successful, and they make good music. You got people like MGK, Macklemore, G-Eazy, but you kind of get the sense that the image they portray is who they really are. Macklemore is not a white gangster rapper. He's just a white dude that raps, and he's got talent, and that's kind of what separates that this class of white rappers that I just named from some of the other ones, is that they have talent and they're being themselves. That right there is a recipe for success with any artist, regardless of color. You know what I mean? If you're black and you're a whack ass rapper and you fucking phony, right? Nobody wants to buy your stuff. Nobody wants to buy your records. And once it will come to light, you get exposed, and you got to rebrand yourself. You know what I mean? So, in conclusion, man, my message to the record labels is stop trying to manufacture these white rappers that are not true to themselves. If you want to be successful, you can be a white rapper, right? Nobody's telling you can't be white and rap, or you can't appreciate hip-hop, but be you. Be you, and people will accept that, people will feel that, and they'll support you. But once people get the inkling or the inclination that you are a phony, right? That's it for you. That's it for you, man. Iggy Azalea ain't gave up yet. She's still been trying to break into this shit. And nobody really wants to fuck with her. She didn't really fuck with hip-hop like that. You saw that with the whole Q-Tip situation and so on and so forth. She probably don't know nothing about the history of rap. She probably done Googled it now just in case somebody asked her. She could debate, whether or not she knows the history of the culture. But people just be using the culture. You know what I mean? Just like, what's the girl's name? Miley Cyrus. She jumped on the hip-hop train, and as soon as she got her little following, she jumped right off and said, oh, well, I don't like the stuff they talk about in rap, and You know, it's kind of misogynistic. Like, where the fuck have you been for the last 20 years? You obviously didn't know nothing about it before you got into it. Shit, Snoop Dogg had the song years ago called Bitches Ain't Shit, and the words were bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. I can't even go into the rest because it's so lewd. But where were you at when this shit came out? Where have you been for the last 30 years? There's all kinds of rap. But yes, there is some of the profane and misogynistic rap, but it's been around. But you were faking, you know what I mean? You were being a fraud, and that's why you didn't know. But like I said, once you got your money up, you turn back to Hannah Montana. I don't fuck with it, man. I don't fuck with that shit, man. You know what I mean? Stay out the culture unless you respect it and you're being yourself. She wasn't being herself. She got my man Robin Thicke in trouble. That's just a sidebar. But like I said, my advice to the white rappers, man, just be yourself, get your bars up, and you'll be alright. Alright? Hey, man, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. Hit that notification bell. Also, see me on IG at Jarray Davis. That's Jarray, JARRAY_Davis. I got to spell that out for some people. DAVIS is in Sam. And subscribe to me there as well, man. I appreciate it. I love you. And peace.